From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Coming up on today's show, it's getting worse. Time's running out in the portal. What can Florida State realistically do? The market for impact free agents, mind-numbingly soft on production, but cold hard cash is still being thrown around. And this Indiana thing makes no sense. Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. CumminsLifestyle. Follow it on Instagram. Cummins providing the entire world with quiet, reliable power. Backup generators for the home, for the RV, for your boat. Portable generators for wherever else you got to go. CumminsLifestyle. Follow them on Instagram. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminoles sports source. Still 50% off, I think, Corey, because the transfer portal's still open. I think the sale is still going. Full access to Warchant.com, the whole On3 network, Rivals.com recruiting, and a year of access to The Athletic. What are you waiting for? It's the ultimate Seminole sports source, everybody. We got our lead writer, senior writer, always cranking out great content, and I'm sure he's going to have some great insight on all the things we need to talk about in today's show. Without further ado, Corey Clark, everybody, give it up one time. What's up, Corey?
What's up, Aslan? How are you? You in town or are you still in Jax?
Man, it was tough, man, to get out of town. You know, a lot of sad, broken hearts after the Jags loss, so decided to lick my wounds and get back on my steel horse first thing in the morning on Monday to come hang out with my boy Link Jarrett. So looking forward to that.
All right, yeah. Baseball practice, for the people that don't know, starts today.
Yes.
So if you're feeling despondent, as you should, about the football team and holy moly, the basketball team, baseball starts here soon. And so that should be much better than those two programs.
Yeah. Per usual, I start this thing off with asking Corey a question, and he then answers maybe the question or just takes us somewhere else that we didn't even know we needed to go, but then we end up thinking, all right, that was a pretty cool place. So I guess the bigger sort of newsy things, and we'll talk about all of it because we have a packed Monday show as we usually do. Offensive line has been addressed, but I think it's the players that were on the roster in 2025, Corey, and their comings and goings, if you will. So Jake Weinberg, your place kicker, has entered the portal, or intends to enter the portal, rather, I should say, which that's a whole other thing. Why are we still saying intends? Just go ahead and do it already, everybody. Like, I mean, I get the leverage aspect, but still, if you're like, hey, man, if you guys don't give me the money I want, I'm going in the portal. I mean, really, if they're like, sure, go ahead, and then you enter your name in the portal, they're like, oh, wait, we didn't think you were serious. I don't think that's the way it works, Corey. But anyways, Jayvan Boggs back, Kevin Wynn gone. Not gone. This is such a weird thing to talk about because we still don't know like what the final adjudication is, if you will. But for you this weekend, what was the bigger, what moved the needle more? Boggs coming back or Wynn potentially leaving?
They're both equal to me. I think Boggs coming back could be a big deal, especially because LaWayne McCoy is at Louisville now. Like, he is out of the portal and he committed to Louisville. By the way, Louisville's getting some dudes, especially on offense, and that should be concerning to Florida State fans because you play Louisville this year at Louisville, and that's not. I think it's at Louisville, and that's not going to be an easy game. It never is. Jayvan Boggs, we heard such good things. We heard as many good things about Jayvan Boggs as we did Kevin Wynn, maybe more, honestly. And so you should be as excited about Jayvan Boggs coming back as you're upset about Kevin Wynn potentially leaving, except that, to me, it's the position they play. You need defensive linemen. That is a guy that Knighton and
Nick Williams.
But Tony White believe in wholeheartely. Like, they think he was going to be a player. He's the perfect kind of nose for the 3-4 system they want to run. They recruited him. They developed him. They thought he was going to be awesome. He got hurt, and then I guess he essentially redshirted this year. Which I'll say this, by the way. I know you didn't ask me, Aslan. I was telling this to Ira during the basketball game. There's no reason to redshirt anyone ever.
Yeah.
For what purpose?
Unless they're injured, right?
Right. If they're there, play them. If you burn their shirt, who cares? They're probably not going to be there for all 4 years anyway. I would love to see the guy, like, what percentage of Mike Norvell recruits stay there for all 4 years and graduate? 8%? 10%? So quit redshirting them. There's no need. Just play them if you can play them. Get them some reps if you can get them some reps. Use them while you got them, because you're probably not going to have them the whole time. So, yeah, Kevin Wynn, I don't know how good he is. That's not sour grapes. I mean, I don't know how many snaps the guy played this year.
Not even 50, under 50.
You would have thought he was Darnell Dockett, the way people reacted to him potentially going in the portal and leaving, except that he was your biggest recruit of the 2025 class, literally and figuratively. He has the potential, we think, to be a game changer up front on defense, and it's just more of the same. We still don't know what the Desirs are doing. It's like any time you get a guy that can play a little bit, like literally the guys we've talked about that I've been so excited about, not excited, excited's too strong a word, but encouraged about with this last freshman class. We said, look, these guys can recruit. They certainly evaluated better than the last group, because look at Arnaud, look at Boggs, look at the Desirs, look at Kevin Wynn. Well, they've all either gone in the portal or said they're going in the portal. All of them. Not great. I know it's part of it is the landscape and just the way the world works now, but I can understand how that's frustrating, especially to me. Aslan, what's been the most frustrating part of the last week is nothing coming the other way on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
You got what'd you get? A DB. You got a DB from South Alabama who might be pretty good. And then you got a safety, right?
C.J. Richard from national runner-up Illinois State, man. Put respect on the name.
But did he play this year?
Yeah, man. He played a bunch.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking I thought they got a guy that I thought they got another commitment on Saturday from a kid that was hurt all year or most of the year.
Yeah, it was as a linebacker.
Yeah. So
not great.
I thought my hope was, and maybe I'm the most naive person in the world, and I'm sure there's people listening to this going, yeah, no duh, man. You've been naive for 4 months now. But saving money on the quarterback like they did, I just thought it would mean like a windfall at other positions. And so far, again, we got a week. The portal's still open for a week. And then just because the portal closes on whatever it is, January 16th, not everybody's going to have made their decision by then. So there's still an opportunity from some guys in the portal to come to Florida State, some good ones that we don't even know are in the portal yet. But by and large, through the first week, I've been completely and totally underwhelmed with what they're doing on defense. Offense, awesome, right? They got a left tackle, one of the better ones in the portal. They got one of the better running backs in the portal. I assume they got their quarterback situation taken care of, quote unquote. It's going to be a battle. You like Danzy came back, announced he's coming back. Boggs came back. Deuce came back. You like what you got, I think, offensively a lot, except for quarterback. But who cares about that, right? But I think you think you're going to be pretty good on offense, right? Don't you think they're going to be good on offense or pretty good?
Yeah, how good do you think they are going to be? Is it tough to quantify it at this point?
It's tough because of the quarterback situation. I just don't know how good Ashton Daniels is. I don't even know if he's going to be the starter. But I just think when you're looking at these receivers, and if Cromall stays, it's got to be an if, because who knows anymore. You're going to have Cromall and Wisner to go along with a quarterback that can run. Again, he ran for 200 yards in the last 2 games against 2 top 15 teams. And those receivers, Malzahn's going to make some stuff happen with that group. And that offensive line, they got enough experienced guys from other places. They got a lot. They got like 4 offensive line transfers, right, or 5?
They got 5, man. They got 5.
Yeah. So they're throwing a lot of bodies at this thing. And unlike 2 years ago, I think Herb Hand has proven that he can do something with these guys. I do think they like Chavez Thompson. We'll see where he ends up. Otto, we'll see what that is. But I think you're going to go in with 7 or 8 guys that maybe you feel okay with at the offensive line. I just trust that Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn are going to be fine there. They're going to be fine. Maybe not great, maybe not Indiana, but they'll be fine up front, and they'll be fine being able to running the ball. Defensively, man, I don't know. Maybe it's just watching these playoff games, but you need dudes that will thump and can play and are highly skilled guys, especially in the front 7. And I don't see it right now at all. And that's not knowing what really is going to be the end result of the Desirs and of Kevin Wynn.
It's imperative that they hold on to the Desirs, right, Corey? It goes with
but I'm also to the point, honestly. I was thinking about this. Yes, it is. They need to do what it takes to a point. I mean, you're not paying them $5 million each, or even. But to a point, yes, you would like to keep them. But at the same time, I want to be like, man, this is Florida State. Who do y'all think you are? Like, go then, go.
Well, they won 7 games in the last 2 years.
Right, but it's like
right
the
now.
Desirs aren't going to be the determining factor. Let's just say this is they're tanking this year. However you want to look at it, but at some point, like, man, you do you know what school you play at? Like, do you know what other bad is? A lot better than you two have played here. And then this fan base has turned these guys into, because of the context that you just gave, which is absolutely true, Darnell Dockett and Broderick Bunkley with a dash of Braden Fisk. Like, maybe they're awesome. I think Mandrell has a chance to be really, really good. Darrell maybe too. And you definitely don't want to lose them. But, God, it's just the pride swallowing it must take. The pride swallowing it takes as a fan to be on pins and needles about the Desir twins at Florida State University and all the good guys, all the unbelievable players that have come through this program. That makes me angrier at Norvell than almost anything else. Right. Like, you've got this program in a position where you've got this great fan base desperately wanting these two twins to stay. And it's because you don't have anything else up front. So there's a reason everybody wants them to stay. They're good, and you don't have anybody else left. And it's like, man, what a low point this is to just be so on pins and needles about one guy that had 20 tackles this year.
Well, it's because the team was so down this year that he was one of the lone bright spots. So we really
I was talking about Darrell. Mandrell.
No.
I was talking about Darrell. I think he had 20 tackles, and he might end up being really good too. Who knows? But Mandrell, absolutely. What do you have? 6.5, 7.5 sacks. He was an All-ACC freshman. He had, I think, he had a sack in 6 straight games. Something crazy. Yeah, he's good. You don't want to lose him. You don't want to lose either one of them. And I also love the way they play. You need more of that. You lost Earl Little. He's at Ohio State. That's official. That became official on Sunday.
Yeah.
But you need guys like the Desirs. You really do, the way they play. But, God, it's just so, I don't know, hurtful and emasculating. That's probably not the right word.
No,
but to be worried so much about these two guys at a place like Florida State. And the reason is because nobody has any trust or confidence that if they did leave, you would replace them with anything that could play.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you lucked into these two guys. You cannot lose them. And it's like, well, it used to be back in the day, you had nothing but great players. But now it's like you have 2 maybe good players or great players, and the fan base is in panic mode, which is like, yeah, man, thanks a lot, Mike, for getting us in this spot.
Is the national title game tonight? Or is it next Monday?
It's next Monday. You think they got 3 days off?
That'd be awesome. Get it back out
that'd
there.
be pretty cool, yeah.
They're getting paid. All right, so next Monday, let's make plans, everybody, to meet up at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Let's bring a friend or two. Let's bring our appetites. Delicious food awaits, ice-cold drinks, great service, and the game on probably every single television in there. But even before then, drop by. There's some NFL playoffs. There'll be a playoff game, wild card game on Monday. Was it Texans taking on Aaron
Steelers,
Rodgers
yeah.
and my boy Mike Tomlin at home in the Steel City? So that'll be a good little appointment view. Bring a friend again. And don't forget, trivia goes down on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Bingo Thursdays, also 7 p.m. $250 in 4 different rounds up for grabs in each single round, the $250. One of these days, I'll find out the best way to market that, Corey, where I don't trip over my words.
$1,000.
About
$1,000 they give away.
Let's do that.
Every Thursday.
Corey Clark, everybody. Big brain, everybody. Gwinnett, stand up. Head over to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway.
We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by CumminsLifestyle. Give them a follow on Instagram. I did a video yesterday, Corey, with Irish O'Fell, Matt Lasser, and Nick Carlisle, all of warchant.com. And The only thing I tried to offer to the conversation was this, and to your point earlier in the show about you thought when they saved on quarterback, that would give them enough of a financial windfall to be able to kind of really splurge on some difference makers, which hasn't really come to fruition. But I still don't know how many really difference makers have been out there.
Well, they're all out, like we've talked about. They're all out there.
Where? Well, you got to tamper with them to get them?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Like Cam Coleman from the state of Alabama, was at Auburn, was at Alabama, ends up going to Texas. Hollywood Smothers, the running back from NC State, was committed to Alabama, actually enrolled, I read, at Alabama, and then ends up flipping to Texas. So, people in Alabama are hurt, and they lost Isaiah Horton, who was from Miami the previous season. So,
and they lost Simpson, right? The quarterback.
Yeah, so they're not having a great time out there, but they do have that freshman quarterback that they feel good about. Ryan Williams is back, and Lottie Brooks, a pretty good receiver. But otherwise, for us, I think the Calvary kind of is what it is. Like, it's not coming. There's only two teams that are still playing football, so their players might be available. I don't know how many of them will be, up for grabs for Florida State. But I put this in our group chat, Corey. I'm not going to say the kid's name just like I did in the video, but per Pete Nakos, the Miami Hurricanes are battling Texas for a former player from the SEC, Corey, an edge rusher. Over the course of 3 seasons in Knoxville, this player accumulated 25 total tackles, 5 sacks, a forced fumble, and 2 passes defensed. They're battling, Corey. Miami and Texas are battling for an edge rusher who over 3 seasons didn't even have 30 total tackles, had 5 sacks in 2 total seasons. Ira mentioned there was a player from Texas State that was on campus earlier in the week, and apparently a whole bunch of teams are tripping over themselves trying to get him into the fold, and he hasn't really done a whole bunch of impact college football in his career. And that's what really gets this whole thing, I think, is why everybody really is completely on pins and needles now, is that you at least thought when the portal opened, there's going to be some names out there, maybe we can make a run at a couple of them. And that never really came to fruition because I don't know how many of them actually were interested in Florida State. And then now there's really nothing left. And when those teams like Miami and Texas have that kind of money that we all assume Florida State does not, and they're battling for a player of that caliber, like what is the hope to get the defense back on track with some players, man, that aren't going to be retained? They need to get some new blood, I feel like. Right?
Yeah, I would push back a little bit when you say there's nothing else out there. I mean, Kevin Wynn just announced yesterday?
Yeah, but he's your guy. I mean, that's a decision.
But I'm saying, like,
Matt Desir was pointing out, like, the number one available defensive tackle in the portal, you know who it is right now?
Is it him?
It's Mandrell Desir.
Oh, yeah, well, that's fair.
So,
yeah, that's probably – but also, like, Kevin Wynn waited 5 weeks until his season was – maybe 6 weeks since the season's over, and then all of a sudden announces he's going to the portal. The only point I'm making there is just because a guy's not in the portal as we record this show tonight – doesn't mean he won't be in the portal tomorrow or the next day. Like the timing of it, it sounded like you were just saying like it's just Miami and Indiana kids that are left entering the portal. I think there's going to be a bunch that, not a bunch, but there will be some that enter the portal over the next week. You can entice people to come in and join and get in the portal. That's happening all over the country. Be smart about it. Don't leave a paper trail. But entice guys. But again, I'm at the point where it's like it doesn't seem – I agree, and you're right that it doesn't seem like they're making any runs at any big-time guys.
Yeah, Rasheem Biles was the guy that we were really excited about, and he ends up never even coming to campus, And
then goes to Texas, right?
Was it? Oh, man.
I thought which is better. I thought there was word that I thought he might go to Miami.
I thought it was Michigan.
Visit Miami, but I think he committed to Texas.
Yep, so, correct.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, so Texas got some dudes. They got the number one wide receiver in the portal, number 2 player overall. I assume Biles was the number 1 linebacker in the portal. Yeah. And then they got the running back from NC State.
Yep.
So hey, man, it's what they're doing. But you're not going to get a Biles or somebody like that, I guess. But you can go get a badass from the MAC. You got to go get football players. That's what we've been talking about. And this kind of dovetails with the basketball team. When Luke goes into the portal next year, go get me some basketball players, man. Not guys that just are scorers or shooters, but dudes that'll compete. And I think, if you're not going to be spending big money on a Biles or obviously a Cam Coleman, you wouldn't spend money on somebody like that. I think you're spending money on Deuce. and Danzy probably. But if you're not going to spend money on those big name free agents, go get some productive players from smaller conferences and hope you hit on one or two. Because look, man, you can't. You look at this defensive roster right now, especially, and we're just going to assume that the Desirs are not coming back. If they don't come back, let's just assume that it's not a done deal by any stretch. But you look at this defensive roster, man. What's left? This isn't a Division I caliber roster. It's certainly not a Florida State caliber roster.
Yeah, it's a Division I caliber roster.
But it's not a Florida State.
It's not a top end Power 4. Yeah.
It's a low Power 4, bottom tier Power 4 roster. Rawls is a player. I don't know what else you got.
Deuce, obviously. You already said him, but yeah.
No, on defense.
Oh, defense.
I'm talking about a defensive roster, defensive depth chart.
Barker, good player. Yeah, I don't know anything about linebacker. I mean, Blake Nicholson, serviceable defensive line right now. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Daniel Lyons, serviceable,
right?
But
yeah, man. Like James Williams is gone. Not that he was I think he committed this weekend too, didn't he?
Oklahoma State.
There you go, J-Dub. Get back to the Midwest. But you can shine there maybe, and start eating some more, man. Literally, just eat some more. But yeah, you look at, you lost Daryl Jackson. Apparently, you might have lost the Desir twins and Kevin Wynn. There's nothing up front right now. Nothing. You lost Jason Jenkins. Don't know how big a loss that is. So right now, what do you have? McCray and Daniel Lyons.
Yeah.
And I will say this, like, you know, we've talked about this a lot, but a lot of Indiana's best players, and you don't have Signetti, so it probably doesn't matter. But a lot of their really good players on defense are not big name. They were not big name guys in the portal. They were from lesser schools and lesser conferences that play a certain way and they're older.
They have a certain perspective. Yes, very much older dudes.
It would be so there is an avenue to go get some guys. I'm just worried that you're running out of time. And this weekend, to me, there was almost nothing positive from this weekend because the offense is set where you're good. You'll be fine there. You'll be fine. You might not be great. It's going to depend on the quarterback, but you're going to be serviceable to good. It's Gus Malzahn, Herb Hand. You got receivers and you got running backs. You'll be fine there. That defense, though, man.
Oh, Omar Graham's still around. He was supposedly going to enter the portal and decided not to. So we got Omar Graham, too. Don't forget about Omar.
Is he still around? He's still got eligibility?
He does. He does.
Right. Yeah. All right, Omar.
So do you want to talk about the offensive line at all, or would that be a bummer if I try to – I don't know. I'm looking at the guys, but this maybe fits some of the narrative around Indiana and just Signetti going and getting older guys that are hungry, although some of these guys are pretty young. But maybe there is, but this staff, Mike Norvell has not shown the ability to go get that value, right? Like the guys that are lower level schools and have them perform out of their minds ever since the snub, obviously. But, you know, so they're losing Medley, Hansen, Pettis, Pettibone, and Leonard. And I'm just looking at it basically, you know, player for player. I mean, they're replacing the body. I don't think they're replacing the production. So they got the right tackle from Stephen F. Austin, Chimdia, Nwewu.
Mm-hmm.
He graded out.
Is that right? Did you pronounce that correctly?
I hope. I think that might be Nigerian. I'm not good with my Nigerian. My Congolese, I can crush it. Okay. He graded out at 68.2. You know, Pettis came in off a 71 season at Ole Miss. Xavier Chaplin, your left tackle, comes to you from Auburn. He graded out at 56.6. Gunnar Hansen came in at 57. And then, you know, Paul Bowling from Troy, he's a center. Braden Joyner, he's a center. Bowling's going to be a sophomore. I think Joyner's going to be a junior. They both graded out in the low 60s. And then Paps might be the only one that gives you like a full, maybe equal comparison. He was a captain for Bowling Green. He graded out at 71. Pettis graded out at 71 as well when he came here from Ole Miss. So I just don't know if, you know, you're talking about Stephen F. Austin, Purdue, Auburn, Troy, and Bowling Green, when you got a guy who'd been playing for Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn for quite a bit of time with Adrian Medley, Gunnar Hansen from an SEC school, obviously Vanderbilt, not the best one, but still. Pettis from Ole Miss, that was a borderline playoff team last year, and Pettibone, who was a multi-year, I think, captain for Wake Forest. Not that we should, if there's one thing we could probably not be cynical and skeptical on, it should be Herb Hand identifying and getting the offensive line running at a nice level. I just do wonder if they, still, even with that magical wand Herb Hand possesses, I wonder if this is still good enough to get what they need for the whole offense to launch off from.
And it's another reason, Aslan. Number one, you're a bit behind the eight ball when you have to go replace an entire new offensive line in the portal, essentially, which is what you've left yourself with what the disastrous recruiting at that position over the last half decade. But they're saving money here too, right?
Seems like
you're getting a guy from Stephen F. Austin, you're getting a guy from Troy, and you're getting a guy from Bowling Green. So now that again, so you might be thinking, okay, the kid from Bowling Green is a little less. He's not quite as good as the kid from wherever, South Carolina, but he's going to cost us significantly less money, and we can win with him. He's good enough. He's good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not good, but he's good enough. But it feels like you're having to if you're saving money at this place and that place and that place, where are you spending it?
Yeah.
Where are you spending it? Is there just no money to spend?
Deuce, he took all of our payroll.
That's what I'm saying. That wouldn't make sense. I do think Deuce is the highest paid guy on the team, which is probably, receiver is a very important position.
Yes.
I've made the point. You go look at NFL teams and go see who the second highest paid person is on most every roster. It is or will be a big-time receiver or a big-time defensive end. Yeah. Those are the three positions: QB, wide receiver, defensive end. You don't have the defensive end at all. You do have a receiver, and you didn't spend money on the QB. So it seems like you're saving money. You're Oakland A'sing it to an extent with you're Billy Beaning it with the offensive line and a quarterback. Therefore, you should be able to spend the leftover money on good players on the other side of the ball.
Well, giving a raise to the Desir so that they stick around.
Certainly, we all know they're getting a raise. It's just how much of a raise are they going to get? How much is Florida State willing to spend? How far along are they willing to go with this before they say just fine, go? Because look, man, the Desirs have the leverage, which is crazy. Peter Boulware played here. Bjorn Werner. Name anybody.
DeMarcus
they
Walker.
all played here.
Yeah.
And you're being held hostage by, two 19-year-olds that might end up being good. One is good, but by God, it's just the saga goes on. And yes, you want him to stay. It would be good news, really good news. But yeah, it's a tough look. And then Kevin Wynn goes and joins them too, because why not? Why not? Why not have every single player on the roster leverage for more money publicly? Please do it. Literally, who hasn't? Let's count down the people that haven't entered the portal or pump faked into the portal. So far, Chroma.
Yeah, shout out. Kevin Sperry.
Shout out, Uzmain. I'm sure as soon as you hear this, you're going to announce that you're going in the portal. But for now, you haven't. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well done. Chase Lofton, awesome. You've never done anything at the college level, so how could you get in the portal? But yeah, there you go. Great. Yeah. Perfect. Jonte McCray, right? He's still got eligibility, I think, right?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so, he hasn't entered the portal either. Arno, I would guess
gone, yeah.
45 guys, 40 to 45 guys have put their name, had said, are actually in the portal or have said they're going in the portal, including all your kickers. Every single one of them. The Bruno Roos kid, the backup.
Yeah.
Chimento, gone. Roos in the portal. Jake Weinberg intends to in the portal. Where's the long snapper? Is he in the portal too?
No, he's out of eligibility though. Mason Arnold, yeah, he's a redshirt senior.
So didn't they get a long snapper out of the portal?
Maybe, yeah.
I hope they're paying him $2.5 million. Got to do something with the money. Give it to him. Have the best long snapper in the country.
Well, we got a guy, Ethan Post. Punter is a freshman, 6'3", 230 from Rochester, Minnesota.
Okay, all right.
I see you, Ethan.
They're not going to be punting anyway.
Yeah.
You don't need to waste any money on a punter. If you're spending money on a punter, something's gone horribly wrong. This ain't Iowa. You're not gonna be punting. You're gonna punt once a game.
Is it even worth asking you what this team would look like right now? Like assuming the worst case, like you don't retain the guys that are flirting with leaving and you replace them with lesser players. Because even worth considering, like, how would you win? I mean, are they going to have to play track meets, right? And they're going to have to beat teams 42-38, and I don't know. This is so
Right now,
far
right-
gone from
right
anything
now,
I could
right?
have. Yeah, this is so far removed from anything I could have even anticipated. And like, I'm not a very positive, uplifting, sunny side up kind of guy.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Aslan. Yeah, you are. Certain things.
Yeah, but this is just so far beyond the pale of. Again, I know, like I mentioned, Alabama lost a bunch of guys this past weekend that they were in the mix for, but like they still have like this quarterback they believe in. They still have Ryan Williams, who I know at this point might be a little bit overrated. Defensively, they're not replenishing that side of the ball all that great either. But like they made the playoff and they won one game. So and I know their standard, but I just haven't. Man, being on Twitter as much as I am, which isn't probably above average, I don't see anybody else like undergoing the amount of like full scale, like what the hell is going on here? We keep losing all these guys, and there's no way to really have a clear view of what this team is going to possibly look like. And I know that's because the portal's still open, but it's you just again, I'm assuming what's still out there and who's going to enter.
Yeah. But
to your point, maybe there's another rush coming after this 2-3 day quiet period, dead period, as all the coaches report for the AFCA convention.
Well, I will. Yeah, there is the AFCA convention, which is going on. I don't. Where is that going on? Miami?
I don't know. It's
Are
usually
they down there for the national championship game. Well, yeah, that wouldn't make sense because it's a week ahead of time.
I thought it's usually Texas, but
oh yeah, you might be right. So yeah, look, man, I think that I do think there will be a mad dash the last 2 days before the portal because so many teams like Florida State currently finds itself in are going to be desperate and are going to need players and like real players. So there might be some commas added to offers to make sure certainly another digit or two added to offers to make sure that you can get a guy in the portal and then get him out of the portal and come to your school. I think that's when there could be, me personally, I could be completely wrong. It might be dry as the desert. But I think after the dead period, those last 48 hours, I think there will be a rush of people jumping into the portal and jumping right back out of the portal to another school. Because that's now you look at your roster, right? Like you can't talk to any of these guys. They can't come on campus. If these Florida State coaches aren't scouring phone books, do they have phone books anymore? Campus directories all over this country looking for just look for an all-conference team anywhere, pick a guy that has eligibility left, and call his parents. Like, do something because if he's not in the portal, I don't care. I don't care. There are people. What in the world is Texas paying these guys right now? Even though we have this deal that's supposedly in place and there's supposed to be, legitimate NIL deals. Come on, man. So don't play by the rules.
They picked up Justin Cryer.
Yeah, that was a bizarre one.
Good for him.
It could be interesting with Earl Little at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll play well there. He played well at Florida State this past year for the most part. But that's gonna be I think he's gonna be replacing Caleb Downs. So all right. But yeah, I knew he could play. Ohio State wanted him. I was very surprised with Justin Cryer in Texas. I don't know if that's a depth piece. I would assume it is. No offense, Justin. I also know he's from Texas, so that it's cool that he gets to go there. But yeah.
Will Muschamp identified him. Will Muschamp's like, yeah, he can play for me.
That's right. Those 2 days, it's imperative. It's imperative that number one, you got to figure out the Desirs one way or the other. Kevin Wynn, figure that out one way or the other. And then you've got to attack the defense with whatever money you have left. And Mike, again, you're making $10.5 million, buddy. You've made $20 million the last 2 years to win 7 games. Give some of it back and help your program. So this fan base doesn't have to be held hostage by a couple of 3-star twins. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Mike. Go out and get the starter from Tennessee. Go get an all-SEC player. Have him transfer to Florida State. That's what should be happening. But Florida State is in the position it is where it's like, oh, God, we got to hold on to this all-ACC freshman kid and his brother. We got to at all costs. Kevin Wynn played 11 snaps this year, but by God, we got to have him because we got nothing else. That's the mindset that fans have right now because of the disaster of the last 2 years. I do think I would be stunned. It'd be a dereliction of duty, Aslan, if they didn't go hammer this portal the last 2 or 3 days and get real front 7 dudes on it. What else are you doing with the money then?
I don't know if they're. Well, what if they're not out there though, Corey? I mean, I know you were saying that it's a foregone conclusion they will be, but what
they're
if
out
they're not? All right.
But they are. Like, they're all out there. You might have to push them into the portal, but they're all there. Everybody has a price. Every single person, well, really on earth, but every single college football player has a price. You've got to go get some guys. And then if you're good enough, next December, we can ask that stud defensive end, man, what made you choose Florida State? And they'll be like, it's just a family atmosphere. I just felt I just felt right at home.
It's the people. It's the people.
In the $2.1 million they sent me. Whatever it takes, man. Please go get some defensive players because, again, this offense will be good enough to keep you in every game. You're going to score touchdowns. You're going to move the ball. Even with an average quarterback, if he's healthy and running, or if it's Kevin Sperry taking off, which is an absolute possibility, this offense will be fine. The offense will be good enough. This defense, I'm legitimately worried because I think the guy can coach, man. But if he doesn't have anybody to coach, what does it matter? So, that's been very, very frustrating. This was a frustrating weekend. I really thought, okay, this will be the weekends. Clearly, certainly, this will be the weekend when you start hearing about front seven guys coming to Florida State. And instead, all you're hearing about is their highly touted freshmen perhaps entering the portal. But nobody coming out of the portal in the front seven. So
I know, and they got the FCS transfer graded out well, man. Graded out like just under 80, but he's a defensive back. It's like, to your point, like front seven or front six, because we're talking about a 3-3-5, still has not been addressed. Segue to talking about Underdog Fantasy Sports, Corey.
There we go.
Use the promo code WARCHANT, sign up. Win, make picks. It's fun. Let's go NFL this time. Texans, Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, 204.5 passing yards. Higher, lower. 1.5 passing touch. Lower? Okay. Is that the
lower?
money?
Yeah,
okay.
lower on that.
How about our boy Jalen Ramsey? Ramsey's got 5.5 tackles and assists combined, 2.5 assists, 3.5 solo tackles, or a pick. Pick would be a 3.5 multiplier to the sheet.
Let's go higher on the tackles. I think it's a playoff game.
The solos or the combined tackles and assists? Okay, 5.5.
I think he's going to be flying around.
All right.
Making some plays.
And then C.J. Stroud, 231.5 passing yards, 12.5 rushing yards, 3.5 rushing attempts. Got completions, 20.5, 33.5 attempts.
Let's go higher on his passing yards.
Okay, passing yards, 231.5. We go higher. That is a 4.5-ish payout.
All right. That's some money.
I'll put some bones on that. Why not? Let's have fun. You folks do it as well. Again, it is Underdog Fantasy Sports. Download the app today, Underdog, and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $75 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Underdog, make picks, win money.
Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
We are back. It's Wake Up Board Champ presented by CumminsLifestyle. Follow it on Instagram. I think the real question that might have been worth asking at this point, Corey, because we don't really know exactly how the roster is going to look like, but let's play the other side of it. If these guys do come back, if Wynn ends up, I don't know if he's actually entered his name in the portal. I should actually see if he's still on the roster. I do see that, or a little no longer is. Kevin Wynn is not on the roster for whatever that's worth. The Desir twins still there. Still there, all right. But let's say Desir's come back, Kevin Wynn comes back. Just the faking of going in, not going in, coming back. Is there a way to figure out how that's going to affect the team? I know it's going to be such a long time between, tour of duty, spring football, New Mexico State game, but like the Desirs have got to know that they've kind of burnt some equity and goodwill that they worked up. People are going to realize that they're highly, highly paid, maybe overpaid players to stick around. Even a guy like Kevin Wynn, Boggs. These guys are still 19, 20 years old. And it's one thing if you're like an NFL veteran and you're on your second or third contract and you're chasing the biggest bag. But I just wonder if this is gonna make things even that much more complicated to get this team to play together as a team. I think when they're going to realize that maybe they don't have as much firepower around them as they expected. Like, man, this is Florida State. This isn't what I expected we were going to look like in year 2, year 3 of me being here. And then all the expectations now, because they are so publicly being paid, and we think a high dollar amount.
Yeah, I don't think it'll have any impact on the team with the team. I mean, they're all doing the same thing, so it's not like the other guys on the team will be like, how dare these two twins get more money? They're all trying to get more money. And I don't think an NFL team is upset when a free agent hits the free agent market and then re-signs with that team. They're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, they're all playing the game. They're all pros, so they know what the game is. And I don't think the teammates will care at all. I don't think they feel like they're being held hostage. They see their buddies going and trying to make plays. Or trying to make plays. Sorry, I was watching Ladd McConkey not make a play in this playoff game. They're trying to make money, and they're all trying to do that, so they understand that. And I don't think there'll be any ill will from the players on the team. Most of them are portal guys themselves, so that would be hypocritical anyway. What is interesting as we move forward with this landscape is, it does burn. It's not that it burned bridges with the fan base. Like, they're going to be very excited if the Desirs come back. And especially when they make plays, they'll be all excited. But, yeah, you struggle a couple of games and see how the fan base reacts to you. It's not going to be, well, he's just a sophomore. He's a kid now. He's still a kid. He's still learning. No. When people know how negotiations went and that you publicly leveraged your time at Florida State for more money, which is your absolute right to do, the kid gloves get thrown away. And they will boo you. And they will say mean things on message boards or on social media if you're not playing well. That goes for all of them, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's gonna become more and more like. The Florida State fans are never gonna be like the Eagles, but you're gonna hear more and more booing at college football games because I think all fans are kind of fed up with the way this. And look, you just talked about Alabama. Like, how many guys they lost? How many guys pump faked and came back? Like, these guys are all pros now. And they're all toying with our emotions to get more money, which is fine. But the reality is now you're not treated as an innocent amateur athlete. You're a pro, and you're going to be treated like a pro from the fan base. That to me is the change that is coming. But that has nothing to do with how they're, welcomed by the team or enveloped by the team or how they get along with the rest of the guys on the team. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Norvell can still coach them hard. I just wonder, will their appetite to take hard coaching if things aren't going well, and then their engagement and their buy-in and their, if they sit 3-2 at some point in the season, or 4-3 or something like that, and the grind is still being applied to them, and it's like, yeah, man, like, no, I don't need this, because they can leave and they got their money, and and then Norvell knows it. In their heart of hearts, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think Mike can probably convince himself, like, oh yeah, it was their agent in their ears, their family was giving them bad information. I'm not going to hold you personally responsible for your decisions to put us over the coals for the last 2 weeks. I'm glad you're back. I know you love me and you love this school. Let's get back to work. Like, there's not going to be any of that. It's mind-boggling, Corey. Is Indiana cheating? Is there any other explanation, Corey, for what happened? And what
I think they're all roided. I think they're all roided up. They got to be. Yeah. Is that what you mean by cheating? Like,
no.
This is about like Balco cheating?
No, I'm talking Spygate cheating.
Oh, that I thought you were thinking because they had so many older players. That was a talking point. Probably.
We had a lot of older players in 2024. That didn't really help.
Yeah. I don't think that's a weird. That's because the SEC's not in the title game, and there has to be an explanation. It's like, oh, Indiana's got a bunch of old guys. Every team is old.
No, it's them cheating. That's the explanation. I wonder if ESPN will ever pick up traction on that. But yeah, a lot of people on Twitter that have a lot of followers are like, yeah, man, like it's pretty uncanny just how, clean they play and how they're everywhere they need to be.
Know every play how they seemingly know every play that's coming.
Game started with a pick six, right?
Yeah.
Or first, second play. So,
but what's the accusation? How are they cheating?
They hacked, I think, into like the database that most everybody uses to upload their game films or something, or their scouting tapes and their practice footage. Somehow they were able to back channel access to everybody's practice footage so they know exactly what you're doing and thinking.
Oh, perfect. Well, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Hey, Mike, there's an idea. There's an idea. Do what Cignetti's doing. Hire whoever Indiana's code hacker is, their code breaker, and bring them over. Please figure something else out, because the way you're doing is not cutting it. Maybe it is insane, Aslan. I tweeted this on Friday night. Like it is unreal.
It doesn't make any
what
sense.
They have done. Because it was last year too. Remember, like last year I kept saying, because the reason I thought they should have gotten in the playoff last year, even though they didn't beat anybody good, is because they weren't just slipping by these mediocre teams. Other than I think their Michigan win in 2025 or 2024, they bludgeoned everyone they beat. And you should take that into account when you're absolutely bludgeoning teams. That to me meant, okay, that's not just a win over a bad team. You're showing how much better you are than that team, and that should matter. And I know whatever they were 11-1, and then of course they lose to Notre Dame, and they shouldn't have been in the playoff. It's like, all right, man, whatever. But what they've done to Indiana and then Oregon is certifiably insane.
Alabama.
To Alabama and Oregon is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. And so, yeah, apparently they're the best team of all time. It'll be funny if they win on next Monday. How that will be that people that and with good reason, right? If you go 16-0, any team that goes undefeated in college football in this day and age, going through the playoffs, man, you do have a stake to be one of the best teams of all time. And then you look at the point differential, then yeah, you absolutely have a stake in it. But it's Florida State's luck, man. Miami's going to win on a field goal. I'm already predicting it. Miami's going to win on a field goal, and I think that's what makes people. So this is what this week has been: is you've had a lot of your good players enter the portal. They're not all out of the portal yet, but they've entered the portal. Your second most hated rival, maybe your most hated rival, depending on I guess probably what generation you grew up in, is playing for the national championship. It looks really good, like just has good players.
The one that you thought for sure was never coming back from the dead. Like they were dead and buried and it was over.
Yeah. And then NIL gave them the lifeline. And then so you have that going on, and it looks like you're so far behind Miami that they're playing a different sport. When you look at who they have, the guys they have on, especially on the line of scrimmage, the Malachi Tonys of the world, it just looks like they're playing a different sport. They're not. But it looks like that, and they aren't that far ahead. Let me take that back. Yes, they are, but you can speed up real quick and catch them. I don't know how that's going to happen this year because, unfortunately,
it's not going to happen. No.
It's obviously not going to happen this year. Probably not next year either, because thanks to Florida State, the ACC gives all the playoff money to the team that's winning the playoff games. They don't have to share it anymore. So Miami has made an additional $20 million that it gets to keep all to itself because of this playoff run. Thanks to Florida State suing the ACC, Miami has an extra $20 million. Now, will Miami give Florida State a finder's fee of $1 million? No, of course not. Why would they? But that's Florida State's luck too, is when that goes into effect, Florida State couldn't be further away from the playoffs. Miami's not only in the playoffs, but one game away from a national championship. It has won 3 games. But I do think, I hope the narrative after that win over Ole Miss and the win over Texas A&M, look, man, Miami was good. I think they were the most talented team in the ACC this year. Well, they did lose to 2 ACC teams.
Ooh. And Ohio State. Don't forget, they beat Ohio State, too, in the playoff. Man, they beat Ohio State, they've beat Ole Miss, and they beat Texas A&M. They beat some big boys, man.
And lost SMU and Louisville.
Yeah. And Louisville was at home. They lost at home to Louisville.
But when they lost those games, they were
immediately disqualified almost, right? Like, they're done. It's over.
Right. Because they lost to an ACC team, they lost to SMU. We all thought they were disqualified from getting there because they didn't make the ACC championship game. And it's just, again, that narrative of the SEC. The SEC is the best conference, I think, from top to bottom. But it is by a very narrow margin. And as we saw, one of the best teams in the SEC lost to one of the worst teams in the ACC, Florida State, by 2 touchdowns. The parity in college football is at an all-time high where you can't just say, oh, that you can't go by name brands anymore. And I do wonder, because we'll be here again next year in November, where the SEC will be trying to get 7 teams in. Well, yeah, Georgia's got 2 losses, but they were to Alabama and a good Auburn team. It's like, well, are they good? Mm-hmm. Well, losses are losses, and I hope maybe it won't, but I hope maybe this whole postseason, because it's not just what happened to the playoffs. The SEC was garbage in the bowls. Period. They were garbage. They were like what,
1-6 or something. Yeah.
So they weren't good in the bowls either, and then they got kind of embarrassed in the playoffs. Now Alabama was embarrassed by Indiana, but it's not like A&M and Ole Miss were embarrassed by Miami. But the fact that it's the 3rd straight year the SEC has not been the national championship game, they lost to a Miami team that lost to 2 ACC teams. Mm-hmm. So miss me with all that, man. You're either a good team or you're not. You either can play or you can't. And the SEC hopefully will stop getting so much credit for road wins and narrow losses. And we can treat them for what they are and go on an individual team basis and not just assume because they're in the SEC they must be awesome. Like, remember, Texas wanted to get in.
Yeah.
With 3 lost Texas. Then almost lost 2 other games to Kentucky and someone else. Arkansas maybe, or Mississippi State. They thought they should get in. Come on, man. So anyway, that is one of the positives of what Miami's done, in my opinion, is, yes, Miami has a lot of talent. Miami lost to SMU and Louisville. It didn't look good in either game doing it necessarily. So it just shows that all these Power 4 conferences have some good teams, and it's hard to win and go undefeated in any of them. So hopefully that next year when Florida State's 10-2, they'll get the benefit of the doubt, even if they don't go to Charlotte, because their losses are to Miami and Clemson on last-second field goals, and they run the table. They'll still get to go in the playoff because people realize that, yeah, man, they're a good team. The ACC's got some teams too.
Florida State hired a new assistant linebackers coach, so maybe that's where some of the money's going. Minot State defensive coordinator Jake Rothschiller, new assistant linebackers coach, coming from Minot State D2, North Dakota, stand up. Okay. Previously, he was the linebackers coach at New Mexico, so he's got familiarity with the 3-3-5 scheme. Completely irrelevant to anything and everything, LSU signed a transfer quarterback, Corey, from Elon. So imagine that, man. Imagine like Lane Kiffin wins 10 games in the SEC with a quarterback from Elon. That must be nice.
I was going to say real quick before we go.
Yep.
Ross Dellinger, who's been on the show, works for Yahoo, right? Doesn't he work
Correct,
for Yahoo?
Yeah.
He wrote that on Friday, the CSC, which is the College Sports Commission?
Yes.
Released guidance to schools expressing concern, in quotes, over some NIL guarantees made to prospects as the deals don't include, quote, direct activations with sponsors, putting at risk a player's eligibility if NIL Go denies these deals. So maybe, Aslan, maybe
hopefully,
Alford is giving these things some credence, or Norvell, and is like, you don't understand. All these schools, Texas, Cam Coleman's going to be ineligible. This guy's going to be ineligible. That guy's going to be ineligible. We're going to stand pat, and while all these other schools have a bunch of ineligible dudes, we'll have, 70 decent to okay players. But at least our players will be eligible. Like, I wonder if he genuinely thinks, or if they genuinely think, and this is why they're not going above and beyond, that there will be some real enforcement and some real teeth, and there will be some real ineligibility issues with this. Because right now, I don't believe that at all. And I'd like the CSC to prove that they're going to make kids ineligible for these nonsense NIL deals that they're signing, because they're not real deals, before I would believe that it's actually going to happen. But it could, right?
Yeah. That's what we need.
Maybe that's the play. That's the long game. Watch. All these other schools are going to be ineligible.
Yeah.
They're not going to be eligible for the postseason. These kids aren't going to be able to play. And look, we're going to be crushing life.
I love it. Yeah. Put them into the trap.
Yeah.
Conversely, on the Indiana thing, imagine, though, that if you are Miami, like, and for 20 years you've been more or less irrelevant to the sport of college football.
Completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Not more or less. Irrelevant.
And then you finally fired off the last bit of ammunition, the last shell, the last whatever you got in your coffers there. and you go and get a guy and you bring him back home. You pay him a bunch of money. He leaves Oregon. He comes home. You get trampled by 42 points by your arch nemesis in year one. Then year two, he decides to run the football in a game where the outcome was all but decided. You fumble. And you
decided. Just take a knee,
Yeah. You lose the game. You are made fun of. You are a punching bag. You are a punchline. You are a joke of a program. And you stay the course. And then you win like 8 games or something, or 7. And then you win 10.
Yeah.
And then now you've won like 12, maybe 13.
Right? 13, yeah.
And then you make it to the national title game. Finally, we made it back. And it's at home. It's where we play our home games. All that, like you finally have fought. You've Andy Dufresne this. You've crawled through the sewage to find Valhalla on the other side. All to just end up getting boat raced by Indiana University in football.
Right. Well, number one, we don't think they're going to get boat raced. At least I don't. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe they do have the best code breaker on earth. But I think it'll be a close game. But, yeah, it's a crazy world we're living in, man, where Indiana is a touchdown favorite on the road against Miami in a national championship football game. Yeah. And I literally, like in Miami, they're playing in Miami. Now, it's not going to be a road game. There's going to be a bunch of Indiana people there. I can promise you that fan base is starved and they had 90% of the seats in Atlanta, so they'll be in Miami. But for apparently $4,000 a ticket, which is great. It's a cool sport we got going here. It's just I get it, man. It's crazy. But credit to them, because the one thing that they did do, and I hope I was. Because we've talked about Cristobal a lot on headlines, and on this show too. He has made some really boneheaded game day coaching strategy decisions, but there is nothing at all boneheaded. And I hope I never gave this impression, because I feel like I've thought this the whole time. There is nothing boneheaded about the way he's built that program. He has built it the right way. Like, yes, they go spend money, and yes, they've got some big-time guys out of the portal, but he builds it with a tough, physical offensive line, physical runners, and a defensive line that can really get after you. That's the way to do it. And a lot of them are homegrown. Not all of them. They went and sprinkled in some big-time players, and it's nice that they have money. But the bones of that program have been built the right way by a guy that was good at Oregon too. Like, he is a good coach that makes dumb decisions sometimes, but he's a really good coach. And sadly, they're not going to run out of money anytime soon, and he's probably not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, let's get some rules. Let's get some rules and regulations, CSC. Ball is in your court. And then last thing, an Indiana fan, not a big-time Indiana fan is the thing, but they got a lot of followers. They tweeted, "I just hacked into Miami's mainframe to help Indiana cheat. The only thing I could find was raw security cam footage from January 2000 of Ray Lewis murdering a man in cold blood in Atlanta."
Oh, boy, come on. He was with the Ravens then. Quit bringing up old stuff. Is there any part of you that is happy for Miami fans? Like real Miami fans, the ones that forgot they had a program the last 2 decades.
Yeah, no, I've got one good friend his dad played at Miami. He was a Miami fan. I've known him since like middle school, and I think he's going to go to the game. And I used to work with a guy who's from Jersey. I mean, typical. Went to Jersey, big money, and then goes down to Miami for undergrad. And they're not obnoxious. Like they literally just like every time we've lost the last few years, they're just like, "Hey man, good game," and I'm like, "Thank you" or whatever. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for them, but then like I just remember every single time I'm like, maybe I don't hate Miami as much as I used to when I was younger. And then every 2 years, I go down there with Ira Schofel, and we walk through that effing parking lot to go pick up our credentials. I'm like, I hate these people so much. This is why. So it's immediately.
You guys know who we're talking about. You'll see him on TV. Not just Michael Irvin, who was noticeably not as visible. I think they got the edict to not show him after every play in the last game. But it's the people, dressed out in full football pads that think they're Raiders fans. They painted their face up. They're wearing 90 chains, like their turnover chains, and just they're flashing the U. It's all that stuff, man. I get all that, but to me personally, and maybe it's because I'm from that era, but I would be genuinely ecstatic if Nebraska got back to this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think
Yes.
that would be awesome. I'm about 92% less ecstatic for Miami, but I do think it is cool in a way. Sliver of me thinks it's cool that Miami matters again because I'm kind of tired of the Johnny come. Mainly the SEC.
Yeah.
Like the SEC thinks they invented the sport, and brother, Miami and Florida State is what built this sport. Miami and Florida State in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s when this sport was becoming so darn popular, and Florida was in there too, but the SEC sucked throughout the 90s, except for Florida. But it was Florida State and Miami that were doing the heavy lifting for this sport. And then they just get forgotten, especially Miami the last quarter century. And the SEC thinks they invented football and thinks they invented big-time college football. Give me a break. So I am at least happy in that regard that Miami is reminding everyone that, oh, yeah, there's more football besides just what happens in the SEC.
Hope they lose next week.
Me too. I should point that out. Me too.
Don't need them to have 6 to R3. That wouldn't be cool. That'd be nuts, man. They have 6. Good Lord. If
Hey,
they win.
has anybody gone that far in between national championships?
It's only
Like
been
24
Alabama,
years?
right? Like, well, no,
No, because they
Stallings
won
was
one in
91.
They won one in
Yeah.
92 and then again in 08.
Yeah.
A 24-year gap is enormous.
Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well,
yeah.
97,
Well,
97,
but I
yeah.
don't know that they won one in the 70s. So you're right. Michigan's probably a good one. Maybe Ohio State too.
Yeah, when they won that one with
Yeah.
Tressel in 01 or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
or
it'd been a
02,
long
02,
time.
01.
So hey, real quick before we go,
Yeah.
another reason that all of this is so depressing is that basketball team.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Like when your football team is struggling, you'd really want your basketball team to be competitive to make you forget about it a little bit. And that basketball game on Saturday was easily the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in that arena. Just utter humiliation and embarrassment. And there's really not much else to say, but it would be nice to get some people on the basketball team and on the football team wearing those uniforms that kind of care that they're wearing those uniforms. Because right now that's not the case. I know Luke Laux cares, and I know Mike Norvell wants to win games, but man, it would be nice for anyone in those two sports to play with some pride and to play like they care. And maybe that's just the new age, but what we saw on Saturday in that building was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic. And the coaches don't get a pass either. Like, game plan was horrible. Your defense was non-existent and a joke. And you are allowed to try to coach effort, and if they don't play with effort, get them out of the game. Like, if you can't find a big that can go get a rebound, if nobody's going to go attack the glass, go put in walk-ons that will at least try. But by God, that was gross. And if you missed it, which I hope you all did, they lost 113-69 to a pretty good but not great NC State team. The 113 points is the most they've ever given up at home in any game ever. It's the largest home ACC loss they've ever had. It's also the biggest road ACC win NC State has ever had. And NC State's been in the ACC for 7 years and won multiple national championships. And they've never had a team win by more points on the road than what happened on Saturday. Just utter embarrassing. Utter embarrassment. But they play again tomorrow at Syracuse. Yeah. So congrats, Orange, for scoring 100 points probably.
Buy low, right? Everyone's heard that, Corey. JoinWarChant.com. Have your badge say joined January 2026. You bought it at the bottom of the market, everybody.
Yeah.
You came in at the bottom of the market. You got it for 50% off. You got all the access. You got the year subscription to The Athletic included. And then, proudly wear that badge when we're winning ACC titles again, winning national titles.
It's going to happen. Look, I'm completely confident it's going to happen. I also think this basketball program will get better. He's got to have a different evaluation process going into the portal and getting guys that actually want to play basketball and care if they get embarrassed or even have the ability to get embarrassed, which it doesn't seem like many of these players do. But the beauty about a Warchant subscription right now is either the football season goes better than we think, and maybe they are playing for a spot in the playoff, or they're playing for a spot in Charlotte, and you're going to want to read all that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or there'll be a coaching search, and you're definitely going to want to be dialed in for that. So it's like win-win. Don't wait. Take advantage now. You're going to want this 50% off when they're in the middle of a coaching search in, I don't know, middle of October, or they're making a run at Charlotte. But those are the only two options.
All right, that's it for us. We'll do a mailbag later in the week. Not sure if we'll actually do it for you folks tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on what's going on news-wise. Maybe we'll have Matt Lasser jump in if there's anything recruiting-wise. But again, it's a dead period, so I don't know really what else could possibly percolate. But Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Do check that out. Monday Smash, usually sometime between 7 or 8. The kickoff goes down, probably a little closer to 7. Do give that a follow. Do give that a watch and a listen. Podcast version also up afterwards. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins Lifestyle. Give it a follow on Instagram.